By 2050, more than 2/3. Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. Just try to put myself together a little bit more. Okay, by 2050, more than 2/3 of the world population are projected to live in urban areas. And most of this urban growth will take place in lower and lower middle income countries. But densely built up urban spaces tend to come with challenges of their own. Therefore, there is a need to start ensuring today that these urban areas will be inclusive, safe, sustainable, and resilient. Working with nature to strengthen urban resilience can be cost-effective for addressing climate adaptation and mitigation while bringing out broader benefits for biodiversity, communities, and the local economy. Let's put it this way. What makes a city resilient? Good evening to the audience out there. You are tuning in the evening show with Stephen Poon. I'm your host for this episode of Spotlight Dialogue series. Once again, in the virtual room with me are the regular team of the Special Interest Group in Circular Society from Integrated Sustainability and Urban Creativity Center, acronym as ISUC, also known as ISUC, at Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, APU. It's live on Facebook now and live on YouTube too. We have great stuff and a little surprise. I'm very excited because we have plenty to share today. Before we get to all of that, let's start on the topic, Penang, moving towards a sustainable and resilient city. Our guest today, a true born and bred Penangite, Josephine Ling, received her secondary education in Penang Girls High School and graduated from the University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Utah, as degree in mass communication from the creative industry faculty. She reported to office as Penang Green Council (PGS) new general manager in April 2019. Previously, for the past 6 years, she has been serving as the special officer in charge of environmental portfolio under Penang State government. Her vast experience also comes from her active involvement in environmental related issues, policymaking, educational awareness, and international networking platforms such as UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, CCAC, Climate and Clean Air Coalition, GEC, Global Environment Center, JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, UN Habitat, and etc. She is currently the leader for Circular Economy Club Penang Chapter, Advisory Board in Sustainability Council MKU in University of Science Malaysia USM, Advisory Board for Feeders Certification Sendirian Berhad. She's also a certified standard mental health first aider. Please welcome Josephine Tan Mei Ling.
Oh, hi. Good evening, Dr. Stephen.
Hi, Josephine. How are you doing? How's your day today?
Good. I would say that although Penang, we are having some rainings here, right? But it's good to cool down some of the hot weathers here, right?
Yeah, but over here we don't have any rain yet, but we have a surprisingly hot. And but sometimes you get floods in the next minute, so you never know. So I think there's a lot of things to do with the climate change nowadays. So there's a lot of full of surprise. So there's if you comparatively, if in the past 5 to 10 years, you don't get that kind of floods when it rains. But today, I think everyone knows about that. When it rains, then we get floods. But I don't know what happened to our urban setting here. And also, is it because of the rain? Because of too much rain, we are not ready for that yet. So we don't know about this. There's a lot of things to be discussed, by the way.
Very true.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yes. Let's. We talk about Penang today. Obviously, my favorite city, my favorite state, actually. So I quite often visit to Penang before pandemic. So I think almost 2.5 years now. So I didn't really go to Penang yet. So hopefully next year it's going to be like get myself to Penang.
Please
Especially
come.
yeah, definitely. Okay. Josephine, let's set a little scene about the which is Georgetown and also Penang. These are the things we're going to talk about this for today. I believe a lot of audience out there is why they are looking forward to find out from somebody like you, the expert from Penang Green Council, what are things you can share with us, and also what are things can be enlightened to the audience out there. Okay. Georgetown is a city in Penang. I think everybody knows about that. Okay. So what are the heritage cities recognized by UNESCO World Heritage? So this is the thing I'm not sure how many people knows that. I believe a lot of people also know that, but you will be surprised some people don't know that, which is Georgetown is the which is recognized by the UNESCO World Heritage. Okay, according to the research here, right, by the Penang Institute, housing demand has increased among low income and moderate income earners, with the government advocating home ownership as opposed to renting permanently. Penang has a remarkably high population density, raising a pertinent issue of the jeopardizing the quality of life due to crime cases and health and hygiene issues. Resilient communities are important in densely populated areas as crime and bad waste management can risk one's safety and health. So, Josephine, what characterizes a resilient city according to your experience, according to your current practice?
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen. I think before I answer your questions today, right, I think I really have to express my appreciation towards Asia Pacific universities, really, for inviting Penang Green Council, and then Penang Green Council. We have the opportunity to sort of sharing together with our audiences out there and what Penang is doing. Right after
the pleasure is always mine.
After 2 years of MCO, and then just now through your short clip of the introductions of the APU, I really wish to visit your campus because you have a wonderful and very nice campus that I can see from the video, right? So when back to your questions just now, right? Indeed, you are very correctly pointed out that Penang is an urbanized city. Yeah, because previously, when back to, I think if we are going to talk about back to 20 or 30 years ago, Penang is focusing very much on rural urban migration on that time. Yeah, that's how we encourage people to move to the cities, and then the state government is focused very much on the development in the city island side. So, but eventually, when things getting urbanized, right, especially in Penang Island, which is Georgetown, that you have pointed out correctly just now. So now the focus of the state government has eventually moved to urban to rural migration. So it means that we have a sort of the whole development plan for the Penang State in future will be forced at Seberang Perai site, will be our mainland, because Penang is,
Okay.
yeah, is consists of island, and not to forget our mainland too, our Seberang Perai site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is surprised when you talk about Seberang Perai.
Mm.
A lot of people, they forgot about that. There is a place called Seberang
Exactly. Exactly. This is
Perai. You
all
know,
the while, yeah, people will
yeah,
say,
yeah,
hey, we have island syndrome or that, and then we tend
yeah,
to
yeah,
forget
yeah,
about our mainland residency there.
yeah,
But it's also a part of Penang Nights, right? We call
yeah, yeah. That's
ourselves as
true.
Penang
It's
Nights,
true.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this it's
also
also
our Penang
cheaper, isn't
City.
it? It's also cheaper over there.
Yeah.
And I find that when I went there for dining, right, it's a lot of cheaper than the island. There for some
Yeah, yeah,
reason actually. Now of course there's a many things can be discovered over the other side, and also
yeah.
it's waiting to be developed too. Okay,
Yes.
okay, right. Josephine, why is technology considered the enabler to improving people's life in the city? Especially nowadays, I believe Penang doing that a lot. So especially come to the point we will discuss about Penang 2030 in a bit. So what other aspect constitute sustainable urban development?
As for me, in my opinions, right, technology is the key for
Mm,
us, especially for Penang State, to
mm,
achieving a smart city. Because Penang, officially, we have a Penang 2030 vision, which is launched by
mhm,
the Right Honorable Chief Minister in the year of
mhm.
2018, that you have pointed out correctly, that
Yeah.
this Penang 2030 vision, we have a tagline actually. This tagline is
Mhm,
applicable to all of our government departments. So the tagline will be a family focused, green and smart states that inspires the
mhm,
nation. So eventually the green and smart element is in Penang 2030, the whole visions of Penang State. So especially for Penang Green Council, we focus very much on green technology. So because one of our mission is to harnessing all the green technologies in no matter it's in Penang or in Malaysia. So it is very crucial for improving our quality of life. I would say maybe for example, let's say we go for energy sector. If
mhm,
renewable energy, yeah. So and of course for Penang State, for energy efficiency or renewable energy, Penang State is currently encouraged for electric vehicles, for example, EV. This is to reduce our carbon emissions, right? And then for technology wise, let's say if for in terms of recycling or waste management, right, it can improve. Yeah, whether you'll be opt for the correct technologies for waste to energy will be might one of the options, yeah, that available in the market. For water, wastewater treatment, how to improve the quality of our waters discharge and all that. So as within technologies, it actually will helps and assist our local businesses to stay competitive in our current economic environment. I would say that because for eventually for this year, Penang Green Council, we also start to introduce a new project that we name it as Green Industry. So we would like to sort of encourage or instill or introduce the circular economy model to our local SMEs, example, for them to be ready in the market, right?
Okay, Josephine, let's look at the network here. What has the network accomplished so far since it was created,
Mm.
especially when you towards to the digitalization? So, what are the challenges to building sustainable city, and how are these being addressed?
For network accomplished so far in terms of Penang Green Council or the Penang State
Mm,
government, because we encourage for public participation, especially I can have example on that. Penang Green Council officially we have launched a Penang Green agenda, which consists of 10 different working groups and 10 different topics that we discuss. So the model that we use is a little bit different with the previous, how government come up with all the framework or policies. We are using a bottoms up approach. So means that we include, the participations of our different relevant stakeholders, for example, academician, and then professionals like Dr. Stephen, yourself too. Yeah,
Oh,
because
thank
we
you.
work together with.
Oops.
We need
Oh, I'm on board.
because we need the expert. Is this you? All of you are really experts in a certain field on that. So for government side, we need to include all of the relevant departments and all of the stakeholders, and then that's how we build up the recommendations and the proposed solutions for the Penang State. For this one we have addressed it in Penang Green Agenda, so we have launched it last year. So it's basically not a government framework, but it's a citizen framework on that. So this is the network we have accomplished so far, because for Penang Green Council we always look for collaborations. Because if only Penang Green Council we have limited resources, right, and then we have limited manpowers as well.
Definitely, we will have a lot to talk about that in terms of collaboration.
Exactly. This is how the teamworks come in. And then when
absolutely.
talking about some of the challenges, right? Usually when we same goes to government department, one of the bigger challenge is the data. Right. Some of that maybe we don't have the baseline data. That's how challenging when we don't have data. How are we going to come up with a suitable solution? On that?
Data analytics. That's true.
Exactly.
Okay. Josephine, you mentioned multiple times about Penang 2030. So I think you also mentioned that in August 2018, and the Chief Minister launched Penang 2030 incorporating ideas for policy making and the strong socializing of its goals in the public service. So would you like to share with us or share with the audience out there, what are the priorities of the Penang 2030, especially after so-called some kind of like COVID-19 today? 2.5 years ago when they launched, right? Before before the pandemic during the 2018. So I believe there was a vision about this, how the Penang 2030, this project is going to be. And then boom, there is the pandemic comes. So things is wipe it out. So things has to reshuffle. So the way we do things is totally different. So would you like to share with us what are the priorities now of the Penang 2030, especially kind of like after COVID-19?
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen, on that. Because I will answer from the perspective of Penang Green Council, right? Because Penang 2030 basically is the vision for our Chief Minister, and maybe for the perspective of green part, right? I can chip in a little bit. What is the main focus, right? And the main thing that we wish to focus on that in Penang Green Agenda, because the Penang Green Agenda officially is the written framework that support for our green part for Penang 2030. This is officially we need to do, because this is a framework that will be adopted by all departments, government departments, right? Especially our relevant departments when during they have draft some of their policies and upcoming activities and all that. So, because the whole Penang 2030 is a very large and ambitious vision for the state, right? And then it comprises of 4 different themes and supported by 16 strategic initiatives. So, in terms because we will look for the economic competitiveness, and then we also look on social well-being, and then we also look into governance as well. So in terms of green and resilient development, I would say that our Penang Green Agenda, basically, we will focus on first, probably green buildings and township. Yeah, because for example, what is the easy access to public resources? And of course, green spaces. Green spaces and green buildings is one of that. And then that's why we will encourage for urban farming for example, urban
Mm.
farming, and then different. This is for in terms of food security as well. After we have come out and surviving from the pandemic, yeah, especially during now, right?
Mm.
I think our foods, right, our chicken, our natural resources is starting to, because of
Mm.
inflation, increase of
Yeah,
price.
yeah, we're running out of food.
Exactly. So
So
how
we need to, yeah.
yeah, we are encourage our local communities, right?
Mm.
No matter you
Mm.
are from you can plant it from the soil or everything, but we encourage for neighborhood urban farming.
Mm.
For example, with different technologies can support for that. Yeah, that's available in the Penang's market. And also, we are looking very much on waste management as well, because in terms
Mm.
for Penang Green Council, our focus will be on the three main parts: will be water, waste, and also energy. So in terms for waste, basically, especially after the pandemic, right, we realized that there are increasing of waste,
Mm. Yeah,
especially
yeah,
for
yeah.
single use
True.
plastic. That one we can discuss more on that, because they will be
All the
supported
fo-
by.
all the food packaging, isn't it? There's a lot of all
Exactly.
this takeaway stuff. Yeah, true.
Exactly. And we are also
Mm.
looking
Mm.
for solutions for flexible packaging, for example, because
Mm.
due to values and all that, flexible packagings might be one of the biggest challenges for us when we are trying to look for any suitable solutions on that. So for water, basically, Penang is a water scarcity state. Actually, just a
Mm.
little bit hint
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that, because although,
Mm.
yeah, we have all the Penang nights, we enjoy the lowest tariff, I would say, among
Mm.
in Malaysia, that we have
Mm.
a cheap water, but we had a water scarcity, yeah, island. So we will encourage people how to
Mm.
save water, right?
Mhm.
In case today, we don't have the source of our water, then what should we do? So we encourage for rainwater harvesting, and different technology will be supported in there. So for
Mhm.
another things after, I would say that because Penang, just now you mentioned very correctly, is we are also afraid on a heavy downpour, especially a heavy downpour, the
Yeah.
rainwater. Yeah, if because we have some of the issues and problems on flash floods, especially.
Mhm.
So after, I would say that after the incident that happened in Park Hang and Selangor, the big floods which happened,
Mm.
then
Mhm.
in order to prepare our Penangites and local communities to be
Mhm.
part of resilient on how to tackle when if flash flood, yeah, if today there's a flash flood happens in my
Mhm.
cities and all that, the state has officially set up a dedicated disaster management unit and risk
Mm.
reduction unit. This is one of the things that part under Penang Green agenda and initiated by Penang Green Council as well. This is a big leap that we have to thanks to the Penang State government that putting a lot of attentions, yeah, in that. So it will consist of a series of capacity building, and then to train our trainers, train our local communities, especially how to tackle when, let's say, we have first aid trainings, right? Or just now you mentioned about mental health trainings and all that. We are giving
Mhm.
out these trainings to our local communities. Yeah, this is my
Okay,
mission. Yeah.
Josephine, I would like to continue with this project, this Penang 2030.
Mm.
The establishment of Penang 2030 in 2018, which is everybody knows about it, provided a platform to share best practices and generate more opportunity for growth, innovation, capacity building, like green building, you just mentioned that, and inclusive sustainable urban development. So what are the some of the important elements that make up a sustainable city based upon what you just mentioned?
From my perspective, because
Mhm.
sustainable city development that plays in our post-pandemic recovery and reconstruction, I would say that
Mhm.
probably a physical infrastructure, which is help us to against our natural disaster. We have to improve in terms of our infrastructure. For example, we for Penang State, we did have one of the project. We name it as a nature-based adaptation solutions
Mhm.
project. That how to shape or how to turn Penang State into the smart city, for example, because it's not only flash flood, but also we have to tackle for climate crisis, and because of the higher temperature that we are facing
Mhm. Yeah.
today as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going up. Yeah.
So exactly, we are start to feel that it's like hot, get hotter
It's
and
warmer
hotter.
and
I
warmer
mean,
every day.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
that's true. Yeah.
exactly. So
Mm,
it is. This is some things that the state is focused very much and in
mm,
improving the infrastructure.
mm,
Yeah. So example to against the natural or to uphold with the natural disaster. So
mm,
nature base is one of that to improve our human nature relations.
mm,
Thirdly, basically we are start to looking into because all the infrastructures we need to have a very obvious financing of fund to support for
mm,
that. So green finance is officially another new topic. I would say that new
it's true.
topic, yeah, that introduced by Penang Green Council because we did have organized a sort of conference and invite
Mm,
again all experts right from
mm,
ADV or different bankers and to share
mm,
to sort of
mm,
set the tone and introduce what is green finance to the government
mm,
and also to the public sectors or private sectors in that in
mm.
order to strengthen our economy because it's not the conventional economy today but we are also looking for green financing which is green economy. Yeah,
Okay.
this is some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, Josephine, we must also strive for sustainable city by exploring critical and the emergent policy opportunities and the new ways of thinking and working, like what you just mentioned there. The pandemic disrupted the food supply chain,
Mm.
affecting farm production, food processing, and manufacturing, transport and logistic, and even consumption. So these impact the cities the most. How does Penang handle this disruption, ensure food security, and provide essential goods, services for population in the pandemic, especially during the time? So, and also in the meantime, what lesson can Penang learn from experience?
Yeah. In terms of food security, indeed, during the along the MCO period, right?
Mm,
Because in Penang State, we have established one unit. We call it as Mutiara Food Bank. So
mm,
this is officially handled by the state government,
mm,
right? And then the main core is to provide all the foods, right? All the dry foods, and also actually we have a kitchen, central kitchen supported for that. So during MCOs, because a lot of people are unable to go out to look for food, and especially to for our B40s categories as well. So this Mutiara Food Bank is working together with our welfare department too. So we have a list, yeah, for all the recipients, yeah. So if those who are in need for food and or goods, right, they can look for Mutiara Food Bank, and then we will mobilize our local, we call it as MPKK, which is for last
mm,
time we known it as some of Penghulu type, right? Uh, so
yeah.
it is consists of a whole group consists of 15 people's members in there. So they will mobilize. So different district and different constitution on that. So we will
Mm,
mobilize our local people and then to deliver all the goods and services, and especially for foods. Yeah, for cooked food, we also have it for that. So Mutiara Food Bank
mm,
is officially a big kitchen, I would say, to secure
mm,
the food whether during the pandemic time. So they have played a very, very important role, yeah, especially during our pandemic side. So this is some of the lessons that uh, or the experience we can share with our public on how to take care of our B40s or how to take care of our citizens on that if they are
Where
in
is
need
the
of.
source of the funding? I believe you need a quite big budget to support that. Am I
Yes,
right?
yes,
So yeah,
yes.
would you mind to share? Actually, is it any or is it confidential?
Nope, nope, nope. Because one of the tagline for Penang State government actually we are the
Mm,
CAT government. So the CAT
mm.
is consists of competency, accountability, and also transparency. So
Ah,
I
okay,
can
that's
share it
good.
on that
Okay.
for Mutiara Food Bank. Although it belongs to state government, for of course state government will uh will allocate some of the funding to run for the
Mm-hmm.
normal operations. But indeed,
Mm-hmm.
we receive some of the donations from our private sectors. Yeah, and
Mm,
also we for manpower side we have some of the good NGOs, right, that support for this Mutiara Food Bank as well. It's called
mm,
it's a public donation and also the support from the private sectors. So in Penang we are very sometimes I would say that we are very blessing on that because we have when the government sort of, yeah, if we are in need for this, it you will see a lot of different private sectors or organizations, yeah, they are ready to help. So it is a teamwork for all the Penang Nights.
Yes, it is. As
Yeah.
an island city-state, Penang has limited land to produce much of its goods and food, and leverages its connectivity and global trade to facilitate supply flows. Keeping supply chains resilient is something we pay constant attention to. So countries like Malaysia, like state like Penang, have developed strategies to recover from the COVID-19 crisis and emerge even stronger, like you have just mentioned there. So what role do sustainable city development play in post-pandemic recovery and reconstruction?
I say that in terms for food securities and all that, for example, we need uh for the state government, right? Especially we did have some engagement together with the agricultural field.
Mm,
For example, with our local farmers, right? Because we
mhm,
don't have a lot of local farmers in Penang, frankly speaking, on that.
mhm,
So, but the Penang state government is trying the very best in incentivize, let's say, or provide any assistance, yeah, for our local farmers to help them grow. This is for the farmer side, and another side will be on yeah the urban farming, which is I mentioned just now, together with
mhm,
our local communities that they can plant their own food on that.
mhm,
And by not to forget, Penang State is officially encouraged and moving towards digitalization. I would say that ever
mhm,
since this is one of the bigger leap
mhm.
that the state has moving towards after the pandemic. And then because during the pandemic there are a lot of things that we cannot and unable to do it physically. Same
Yeah,
goes to
yeah.
Penang Green Council actually, because our main call is to educate and provide a lot of environment awareness
Mhm,
and also outreach program. I still remember
mhm,
back in 2 years time, right, when
mm,
officially the whole Malaysia, our federal government announced for lockdown. We are really puzzled. We don't know how to carry out our normal activities, and
mhm,
then and officially begins for now. That's how we start to move ourselves from physical to virtual, and
mhm,
starting to really move change the whole scenario, yeah, for the whole Penang Nights. And then that's come today. Then that's how, even though we cannot meet physically, but we can also
yeah, yeah.
share share together with
Exactly. This
our
is what we are doing now.
exactly. This is this is one of the things that I will say for COVID-19 pandemic, right? It is
Mhm.
really accelerate our Penang's digital transformation on that. And for all the
You
digitalizations, yeah.
Thank you. I was just about to think of. I was thinking about to ask you about something about digital transformation. Okay,
Mm,
the last few decades saw the dramatic expansion of the mega city in Southeast Asia, especially Penang. Penang also, the region has one of the faster growing rates of urbanization. So with more than half of its residents living in urban areas. So what are the elements of the successful digital connectivity here? And how do you think digital connectivity will transform society in general and Penang in particular?
I'm not a very expert in digitalization. I have to be fair on that. But
Okay, never
but
mind, never mind. Share.
for
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but in terms of state government, right, because the
Mm,
state government has already pay a lot of attentions and also notice that yeah, we are moving towards digital transformation. And that's why officially last year actually Penang state government has also established and set up another government
mm,
arm, which is sharing the same, I would say, sharing the same characteristic together with Penang Green Council. Just the focus is different. So these, the government agencies, we call it as Digital Penang, which is also my colleague. So
mm,
they are focused very much on the digital transformation for the whole state. And I also understand that they have launched a digital master plan for the Penang state. So this
mm,
is how sort of digital transformation had it is really start to, it will requires a cultural shift, right, and changes in, especially for the acceptance of our local communities. And I also understand that on ground, right, because example for our senior citizens or our B40s, we
mm,
have a lot of on ground trainings and workshops with our senior citizens to
Mm,
teach, yeah, how, for example, how to use our e-wallets, because officially, ever since 2 years ago, Penang State, actually, we did encourage a lot of our merchandise or markets today that
mhm,
you will opt for. You will see, yeah, we have e-wallets available on that. So in order to really how to say ready our local communities, yeah, we are slowly trainings, workshops, go on ground to teach them how to use on that. This is one of the bigger leap on e-wallet things. And also same goes to, we have Penang smart parking as well. So when it tied it back to our green part, I would say for food security wise, just now we also mentioned that smart farming is also one of our the things that we promote in Penang Green Council by using
mm.
the different apps. Right, so it have contains about sensors and all that. So we are working together with an university as well. Yeah, same goes to our both local councils.
Right, Josephine. Probably I like to hear from you as a citizen, not from the expert perspective. Do you agree with the observation that the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated countries' digital transformation, according to your observation?
Oh
Do
yes,
you, yes.
if
So what are the
yes.
roadblocks? Do you would you like to share with us, especially from the citizen point of view? What are the roadblocks to digital connectivity? If you see this is if you agree with the whole context of this, digital transformation has been changed.
One of the, if talking from a perspective of a
Mm,
citizens, right, one of
mm-hmm,
the biggest roadblock for digital connectivity sometimes will
mm,
be, for example, if today I don't have any coverage, or for
mm,
example the connectivity
mm,
is low, I might
mm,
not be able to use the apps, right? Because it's everything connecting through connectivities, right? We are talking about 4G, 5G nowadays. So if we don't have the really good connectivities on that, hey, I
mm,
today I might not be able to use the apps. Then what is the next step? I would just, yeah, hang there, or yeah, as a normal citizens. So we have to
mm,
ready it in terms of infrastructure upgrading is also very important. So to make sure that the availability and accessibility of
mhm.
the, yeah, of the apps or any particular softwares and all that.
Do you think we are doing good enough in this aspect?
I would say that
Probably, I'm not sure about how Penang's doing, but I believe
mm,
the way different state they have a different way how they approach and how they practices. But in the nationwide, of course, there's a federal. They have the
mm,
decision to be
mm,
made. What are
mm.
things need to be done? So would there be is it are we aligned with each other from the different state, especially from Penang points?
I would say in Penang, right? If
Mm,
it, we, of course we won't claim that we are doing very good in terms of
mm,
digitalizations, because I would say that
mm,
there are always a way to improve, right, in terms of
mm,
infrastructure as well. So how far and how fast that we can catch up the digital trend. This is what Penang State is focusing now in terms of digital transformation. So how will we ready ourselves to be able to compete with other, let's say, countries, right? Yeah, this is some of the things that I would say we are still starting for digital transformation, and
mm.
sometimes transformation it takes times, but the upgrading of infrastructures is a need too.
Mhm. Do you think the digital transformation requires a similar cultural shift or changes in societal values and norms? How so?
Say yes, because first thing, same thing goes back to whenever we have introduced a new thing, right? Or
Mm,
put it this way, if today we are going to a different countries or different that, usually we will have something like called culture shock, right? So, and yeah, if
uh,
today I'm not the one
yeah.
that yeah, use or practice a lot of use my smartphones or the software
Mhm,
a lot, so I might have this shock as well. Same goes to
mm,
whatever in terms of, if related to back to waste, right? If today
mm,
the first thing I can tie back to when the state first announced for, hey, no free plastic bag, now you have to pay already. you will be charged for every plastic bag. There will be a culture shock on that too. So
Yeah, yeah.
slowly, it takes times for us to educate, right, and create a lot of awareness. And probably we need to prepare and ready a lot of workshops. I would say a lot of awareness is important, a lot of trainings, right, and then outreach together with our communities. Of course, to explain why today we have to move to digitalization. Why is it so important? If not today, if you didn't change or didn't do that, maybe you will be slowly phased out by the
Do we
society.
have to thanks to the pandemic?
I would say
I'm
in
not
terms
sure.
of
I just being sarcastic.
yeah, yeah,
Because there's, can you imagine that without pandemic there's no such a need for change? Do you think people
exactly.
will move on to that way? So this I
Yes.
was always wondering. I was constantly asking students, um, are we changed because we need to, we must to because of the pandemic, or are we changing just because we just being cool because of technological advancement? So actually, what is the context behind all these changes? So what make this phenomenon? So probably I think I mean, being funny to look at this, we have to thanks to the pandemic. So because of that, and then we forced to change. We have no choice, so we must adapt that. I think it's not only in anything what we do, but in many form of education also changing. Like brand changing,
Mm,
advertising changing, and even all the design work changing, and finance, banking, corporation changing, economic
yes.
changing, everything, even supply chain, export, import change as well. So it's everything, the whole world change. So
Mm,
it's just like the new phenomenon. Take this out from the to the different horizon.
yeah.
Okay, Josephine, I think let's give a little time for the question. Let's take a look at the question from the audience.
Okay.
Uh, let's the first question from the registration question. Um, isn't it time consuming to go green? Won't initial cost be really high? So why even bother if the cost saving is not that drastic? So this is the question from the registration.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I think thank you very much for the question. And this is really, I would say that a lot of people will ask us, right, whenever
Mm,
we are going out to introduce, for example, our Penang, some of our programs, right, and
mhm,
activities. A lot of industries or some of the public will think that, hey, go green.
mhm.
If you ask me to go green, I have to change these technologies, right? I need to change that. Hey, it's very expensive, that is a quite a
But
common
it
question.
costs even more, isn't it? So
Yeah,
why should it be
exactly,
sustainable? It's not sustainable
exactly.
at all.
They will say that, hey, I haven't really saved cost on that. No, then now you have I haven't really generate a lot of incomes on that or any profits on that. Now you ask me to spend more on that. This usually this will be the common questions that people will ask us. So usually when we answers, right, because I will say that for go green, it can be big, it can be small steps, right? So in terms of individuals, right, if we are talking individuals, for example, our normal practices and all that, basically it won't cost any money, but in fact it will save. We will save a lot of monies, right? And then of course we will reduce the waste, uh, yeah, the waste generated, right? For example, I will take it as that we will encourage people to bring their own containers, individual, right? Individual.
Mm,
So bring their own containers, and then yeah, we can sort of reduce the numbers of waste, right? And then they send it to the landfill because in Penang we have one and the only landfill. It's only one that located in Seberang Fry, our Seberang Fry Selatan.
mm,
Only one. So we don't have much land to locate
yeah.
another landfill on that. So
Mhm,
so maybe a lot of people will ask me, hey, why should I reduce a lot of waste because I pay for the what assessment tax, whatever
mm,
tax, that is for waste management. And
mhm,
usually we will say yes, indeed, it's correct, not wrong at all. Yeah, but if we have reduced the amount or of the waste that sent into the landfill, eventually our both local council, they have saved the cost for waste generated. So the pool of money or the taxes that you have paid it to our both local council, eventually our both local council can use it to upgrade our infrastructure or use it into another good way to benefit back to our society. In fact, if the money is going to use to just pay for the waste management, it is for us it is really a very waste. It is this is a real waste on that. So usually we will educate for individual. You will really go for need and want. If today is a need, yeah, go for need, right?
This when you talk about cultivation and
Mm,
education, right? Because we don't born from that kind of mindset, so
yes.
it takes really longer to get the people cultivated. So it's not
Mm,
that easy, because especially those are the elderly people, right? They don't see the reason why they are doing this. So just like I give a good example about my parents. I
mm,
have to cultivated my parents, especially my dad. He's 80 plus now, so he doesn't have that kind of context about this.
context. Mm,
Yeah, and I have to talk to him like many times, why we doing this, and then until he get convinced, but still he still has his point of view.
yep.
So it's just like, father is always like, wow, I know more than you, so you have to
Yes.
listen to me. So
Yes.
so okay, yes, but I have to tell him about the issue about our climate change, and also
Mm,
what is the cost, what is the big price we need to pay eventually. Of course, not for now, for our next generation. So this is the
exactly.
thing, so I have to
Exactly.
talk to him about this for many many times. Even until today, I still talk to him about this issue.
We have to keep
Okay.
reminding them.
Yeah, yeah, old people. Okay.
Understand.
Let's look at the second question from the registration as well. From the registration posted question: will the cost be high when we change to green and sustainable state? I think that was. I think you have answered that, right? Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
if
Yeah.
maybe I add on a little point, a little bit, yeah, sharing on that. That is on individual side, but how about
Mm-hmm.
the company side? If
Mm-hmm.
company is to opt for, usually company will back to us,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially SMEs, we also understand
Mm-hmm.
that profit is the first, yeah, main priority, yeah, for them, right? Because especially after the pandemic, we also
Mm-hmm.
understand that there will be a lot of our local companies that suffering a lot. Then
Mm-hmm.
today, why should I opt for a green technologies, or why should I go green? So we also understand sort of these challenges and all that. So that's why. For Penang Green Council, basically, we have a project that we call it as Penang Green Office. So it will not involve a lot of big costs on that, but in fact, it's also changing for our consumption patterns or practices
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
we can lead by example in our office. So we have a series of criterias, and then to teach that you no need to spend a lot of monies, yeah, to do that. For example, carpool, no need to spend money, but in
Mm-hmm.
fact you will save, right, for all your fuel consumptions or your fuel costs. So yeah, will it be high for the cost? I would say for long run, right, Penang State actually will gain profit and will also attract
Mm-hmm.
our external investor. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to invest in Penang. See.
Okay, good. Let's move into the next question from I think Farhan. Um,
Mm.
there's a question: what factors are considered when determining whether a city community is sustainable?
First, I think uh, it's always a very big word for sustainable, right?
Yeah.
I would say maybe Dr. Stephen
It's,
is well known for this sustainable thing. Yeah, yeah.
it's become cliche now.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
because we were talking about a lot of people
Yeah.
start to say, "Hey, we need to moving into sustainable city, but
Okay.
how to do that,
You,
right?"
you know, it takes me 10
Mm.
minutes to explain sustainable to my
Oh,
dad. My dad
really?
don't understand. What do you mean sustainable? I think our life is very sustainable. I say, no, it's not like this. I have to explain. It take me 10 minutes to explain what is sustainable. Yes, now it's become like cliche. Yeah. What is your thought?
What factors considered to determine whether your community is sustainable or not? What I can say, because for the perspective of Penang Green Council, right? Usually we will look for such we will promote as sustainable. We need a sustainable solution. Means that the solutions is really workable and can be implemented on ground. Because eventually a lot of before that, we understand that there are a lot of pilot projects or that have been in that, so investment or some of the technologies and that, so we don't wish that it will become another white elephant, what I would say, in terms of state government. So it is not sustainable. So why? Because end up the technologies or the machine that we have invented or we have introduced to the market is no longer practicing. No people is really maintaining the parts of that. So this is what we are trying very hard to avoid from Penang Green Council as well. So usually we will promote that. Why not? So that's why sometimes I would think that feasibility studies is very important.
Feasibility, that's a key word for today. Actually, feasibility. Yes,
Yes.
you hit the spot right away.
Yes.
The next question: do you plan on expanding to other cities? Wow, this is Penang
wow.
actually. So
Okay.
I'm not sure about what. Probably you have a different thought because I think different states run differently, right?
Expanding to our cities, because all the while Penang State government we are having open door policies, what I can say. So we for our policies and all that, actually other states has actually invited us to share it, whatever, to share our experience, to share our how we do that in Penang. So expanding to other, I won't say expanding, but we are sharing our experience and good thoughts, and then maybe sharing with each others, because different cities, right, they have their own strength and weaknesses. Same goes to Penang. So Penang is striving our very hard to sort of set up the whole atmospheres on that. Yeah, of course, we can share our good practices, and also we are hoping that we can learn from other cities on their good practices as well. Yeah.
Okay, the next question also from the same person earlier on. Why was Penang chosen and not other states? Is there any reason for that?
Because it's a different perspective, I would say. Because in Penang state government or even Penang Green Council, we have the passion, and also we have the mission, and we have this one, we call it as Penang leads. We wish that, let's say today, okay, the whole federal government, we have the good policies that introduced in federal stage. So for the state government side, we are really support for our federal government policies as well, for all the frameworks. So we will initiate for those targets that set by our government. So Penang would like to lead. Well, I said, not why was Penang chosen? I would say because I'm from Penang, right? And then I'm
Very
also
proud, Penangite.
Penang Green Council on that. So I really think that thanks to our leaders as well, because for one of the good policies to be able to implement on ground, we need a really strong political will. We have to we have to thanks to the leaders in Penang State.
I believe it's not only Penang chosen, and I think
Yeah,
JB is also working on that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Selangor
so
is also working on that. There are a
working
lot of
on the
good.
smart city, sustainable smart
Yes.
city. I think we are all working on that.
Mm,
It's just like Penang probably is in the front at the moment. So there's a reason everyone looking at Penang as a benchmark. But in fact, Selangor, JP is working on that. So there's a lot of
yes.
all this smart city discussion going on, as some of the projects moving as well. I'm part of the Malaysian Green Building Council, which is a council. So
Yes.
I know that. So we are working on that in Selangor State, especially we go for net zero, and this prospect, and also JB is working on that, especially the area the part of the region near close to Singapore, their part. So we actually this just coming along the way. It's just like they are not really so as fully well equipped and completed yet. So everything is still under progress. So, but I think probably for the next 10, 20 years, or probably next 10 years or 5 to 10 years, so we can see things moving. Also,
Yeah.
you will be surprised. I think we are going to that kind of like green, not just only in one place, but from the north to the south to the mid, even to the other side of Malaysia,
The
like
Borneo, it's also
the
doing
Borneo
very
part
good.
as well. So because there's a lot of discussion going on as well, and also some project going on, and they all tag along from the west side of Malaysia here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm part of that as well. So there's a reason I get to know some kind of discussion going on. Yeah.
Maybe next spotlight dialogues we can include some of the states represented.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is. Okay. This is already seen there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the question from my colleagues, Daniel. Okay, Daniel, what is the main lesson learned in the process of becoming smart and sustainable city?
In terms of infrastructure, we can put aside because infrastructure is one of the main elements that we have to really invest and look at the suitable technologies on that, right? And then another side, in order to prepare our citizens, I would say, because the first thing that we need to let our local communities know that what is smart, what is sustainable city. It's not an easy element or context for our local communities to understand because we have different categories of public, right, for communities and there. So we still need a lot of education, awareness, outreach that this I won't say it because PGC is officially 11 years on now because we established in the year of 2011. So the education workshops and trainings and all that and outreach program we have never stopped. Yeah. So one of the things that a little bit most challenging part goes back to the education part. It's not easy for us to change, especially for people's mindset and consumption.
Especially my dad.
So usually for adults, right? Sometimes we will really think that it's really hard for us to talk to adult. You know, sometimes when so we will use another reverse psychologist, though. We will start to go into, hey, why not we use our younger generations to bring the message to the adults? Right. So and then we start to come up with a different programs, activities, like starting from kindergartens. Actually, we start to educate little kids, right, from kindergartens, from primary, secondary school. So they will bring back the messages, right? And today, dad or mommy, daddy, we cannot use that. We have to bring our own. We start it from the younger generations. It will be much more easier. There will be a different approach on during education.
Okay, exactly. I can't believe our time is flying so fast, but I do have one last question for you. Okay, in recent years, Malaysia has faced environmental challenges caused by municipal solid waste, especially household waste during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is earlier on you had mentioned that. Among all the household waste, plastic and paper are the most unmanaged waste that cause environmental issue. Several recycling associations in Malaysia have carried out their practices for better waste sustainability and management to curb the increasing amount of the household waste. However, the effectiveness is still vague in achieving smart and effective household waste management. So what are the key factors here for ensuring the more successful moves for future household waste management in the city?
Maybe in terms of sharing, right, for Penang State government, for good policies in it is very important, especially in dealing with waste. So in Penang State, we have introduced we call it as waste segregation as source policies since the year of 2016. So it is a must for our household and also high-rise building to segregate their waste. So we are separate into recyclables and non-recyclables for time being until today. So this is one of the things that we can reduce the waste, right, by segregate the correct different categories of waste. If it is also one of the way for us to expand or extend our lifespan of our one and the only landfill also. So for us, we have is supported by our waste segregation as source policies, and then we have also enforced it in June of 2017. Yeah, just after a year. Yeah, because of course we have used a 1 year time for us to do all the education. We have actually knocked door by door when during the education awareness and all that, and also teach our local communities how to segregate your waste and what is the correct waste that can be recycled. This is also one of the bigger challenges that we are facing, because usually people will say, oh, this one also can recycle, but they also, for example, plastic. Dirty plastics cannot be recycled actually. So only dry and clean plastic that is encouraged for us to recycle. So, and then we also have some of the good campaigns, right? We have no free plastic bag day. We have no plastic straws campaign that we have enforced in our outlets, our food outlets and all that. So one of the key factors to ensure the success is, for of course, after 10 years or 11 years of education, enforcement is very important too, apart from education and outreach. So, and of course, those proper collection system and infrastructure chip in together with the carrot and stick approach. That is what has been practiced in Penang State.
Okay, Josephine, let's look at the larger context. Look at this figure. How do each of the municipalities of the Malaysian cities address their waste issue based on the key factors? Let's look at this from your probably you can give some advice, to look at Malaysia cities instead of just only Penang.
I think one of the main municipalities can really think of that is they need to know that what is the biggest contributors or categories of the waste that generated by your local communities. So that's how for of course you will have the data. Data collection is very important usually. Yeah, for us, right? Especially if before we are going to opt for any suitable solutions on that or any suitable methodologies and mechanism that we need to improvise on ground. So first we need to understand that what is the main waste that generated from our public or our local communities, followed by, because different categories of waste, we have different technologies or we have different methodologies to reduce or to get rid or to recycle on that. So that's how MRF can come in, different types. So because I would say no one size fits all, because different state we have different categories or characteristic of the waste categories that we will share. For example, in Penang, surprisingly, because Penang is a food paradise on that, so food waste is the first waste that generated the most in our waste stream. So our local councils will be trying to, hey, today, how are we going to introduce the suitable mechanism and methodologies for us to curb the food waste issues? Yeah, so that's how.
This reminded me, the last episode we had the discussion. I was with another speaker talking about the food waste. It was a big issue actually, food waste, especially not just only in the paradise, like food paradise of Penang, but as well as all which is
Malaysia,
Malaysia in KL, Selangor region, especially those are the big hotel. So those are the hotel chain actually. The food waste is quite serious too.
Yeah.
So this is they must have another solution. How can we settle this? Because in the end, right, you will not reduce. I know that you will get more and more and bigger and bigger. So where is our landfill actually? Can the landfill big enough to fulfill all this. So what is the recycling process behind that? Can we upcycle it and afterward instead of recycle it? So there's a lot of all this kind of issue, and also low carbon. Those are the issues, and we need to look into that as well.
Very true.
Okay.
Dr. Stephen, you are the expert on that.
We are sharing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Let us conclude the dialogue this evening, Josephine. Okay. Penang Island has taken steps to implement sustainable development plans and create a low carbon compact city over the last decade, which is trying very hard. When the United Nations framework of 17 Sustainable Development Goal, which is the SDG, was drafted in 2015, so it became the guideline which Penang City Council plan and strategize the city vision. In fact, the state government's Penang 2030, the vision is framed with the goal of achieving the 17th SDGs. So the future is moving forward towards fundamental changes of social economy and digital revolution, obviously. So Penang Island will continue to innovate and transform the city, as well as strengthen the policies and adapt changes in business process according to the expectation of the local needs. With that, Josephine, this is great. Thank you so much for giving us the time today and for sharing all of your expertise so well thought out and gave us a lot of things about as well. It's likely spared some more questions, so it wouldn't surprise me if you and me maybe meet up again and have another conversation around some of these follow-up questions that I'm sure will be coming our way. So
looking forward.
Thank you so much once again, Josephine. I appreciate it. Thank you for being
very
here.
much. Yeah.
Thank you. Spotlight Dialogue Series organized by Special Interest Group in Circular Society from Integrated Sustainability and Urban Creativity Center at Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, APU. Till then, take care and each other. Have a nice evening.